Chosen one, pay attention. Not like you pay attention to the news. Not like you half listen while your mind drifts somewhere else. Really, pay attention. Because there are moments in life when missing a single word costs you more than missing an entire year. This is one of those moments. I need you to hear something that most people your age were never told directly. Something the enemy has worked overtime to make sure you never sit still long enough to receive. You have been tired of urgent messages. I know that. You've heard breakthrough is coming so many times, the words stopped landing. You've lifted your hopes like a flag and watched the wind tear it down. Again and again and again. So you learned to protect yourself. You stopped expecting. You called it wisdom. But beloved, that is exactly where the danger lives. Here is the shocking truth nobody is saying out loud. The greatest regret of your life will not come from the wrong things you did. It will come from the divine moment you were present for and didn't recognize. God has already started moving. Quietly, right now, around your life, beneath your circumstances, behind the silence you mistook for abandonment. But pain trained you not to notice him anymore. That is not condemnation. That is a smoke alarm going off in a sleeping house, not to punish the sleeper, but to save them. Isaiah 43:19 declares it plainly. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Do you not perceive it? He warns only what he intends to preserve. A lighthouse doesn't shine for ships already docked. It shines for the ones still navigating the fog. That lighthouse is shining directly on you right now. John 10:27 says, his sheep hear his voice. And Habakkuk 2-3 promises, the vision will speak, it will not be late. Stay with me to the very end of this message, because the final part will reveal how to recognize whether what you're feeling right now is fear, or God repositioning your entire life. If this word found you at the exact right moment, type right now, Lord, open my eyes. Chosen one, I need to step into something sacred with you right now. Not theory, not theology from a distance. I mean, the real stuff. The stuff you carry when nobody is watching. The prayers you whispered at 3 inches the morning that seemed to dissolve into the ceiling. The relationships that ended without a single explanation. The doors that closed so hard you felt the wind on your face. The years, and I mean whole years, that felt like they were taken from you by something you couldn't name and couldn't fight. You smiled through it. You kept showing up. You kept functioning. But inside, quietly, something started to shift. Not all at once, slowly. The way a tide pulls back from the shore, so gradual you barely notice, until you look down and realize the water is gone. And when you have lived long enough, disappointment can become a kind of atmosphere. You don't even call it pain anymore. You just call it life. You learn how to function while grieving quietly. You learn how to hope carefully, just enough to keep moving, but never enough to risk being crushed again. Chosen one, I see you. And more importantly, God never stopped seeing you. Psalm 56:8 says this, and I need you to let it land. You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Every tear, every sleepless night, every silent grief that had no witness, God collected it. He kept a record. Not one moment of your suffering was invisible to heaven. But here is where I need to shift something in your spirit, because you thought you were losing ground. Heaven says you were being kept. Some of those relationships that faded, they could not cross with you into where God was taking you. They were not built for the altitude of your next season. Their leaving was not rejection, it was preparation. Some of those doors that shut without explanation, they led to smaller rooms than the one God had already prepared for you. You were knocking on a door that, had it opened, would have confined you. God blocked the bridge before it collapsed beneath your weight. Some of those delays, the ones that made you feel forgotten, passed over, invisible, were not punishment, they were protection. You were not ready, The ground on the other side was not ready. Like winter that looks dead, but is secretly protecting everything alive underneath the frozen surface, God was preserving what he planted in you until the season could sustain it. Romans 8:28 does not say some things work together for good. It says all things, all of it. The betrayal, the silence, the loss, the years that felt stolen, all of it working, weaving, building something you could not see from inside the pain. And now I want to ask you something that may be the most important question you've heard in years. What if the delay that wounded you also preserved you? What if the door that broke your heart also saved your future? Think about Joseph, sold by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, imprisoned for years for something he never did, by every human measurement forgotten, discarded, finished. But Genesis 50:20 records what heaven saw the entire time. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. The very thing meant to bury Joseph became the path to the palace. Chosen one, the enemy did not just attack your peace, he attacked your perception. He needed you to look at your history and see only loss, because if you ever saw it clearly, if you ever understood that every closed door, every betrayal, every winter season was God's hand guiding you through what would have destroyed you, you would become dangerous. You would stop apologizing for surviving. You would stop grieving what was taken. You would start walking in what was preserved. And that version of you, the one who finally understands that nothing was wasted, that is exactly who God needs standing on the other side of this message. So let me say it one more time, not as a religious phrase, but as a spiritual fact that heaven has already confirmed over your life. What broke your heart may have also saved your future. Every scar is a map. Every delay is a date on heaven's calendar. Every loss was a door God closed with his own hand, because what was on the other side could not carry you where he was already going. You were not forgotten. You were being formed. You were not abandoned. You were being anchored. You were not behind. You were being protected. If you've ever looked back at your life and suddenly realized a closed door, a lost relationship, a painful ending actually protected you from something you couldn't see, type right now, "He kept me," because he did. But here is what I need you to understand before we move forward. Protection is only part of the story. There is a reason the enemy has worked so hard, specifically in this season of your life, to keep your attention scattered, your spirit numb, and your eyes looking backward instead of forward. In the next movement, we uncover exactly what he is trying to stop you from seeing, and why right now, this very moment, may be the most strategically important season you have ever lived through. Chosen one, let me tell you something that will reframe every confusing thing you have felt lately. The enemy is not fighting who you were. He is fighting who you are about to become the moment you wake up and recognize what God is doing right now. That is the war. Right there, not your past failures, not your old wounds, not the decades of mistakes you have already replayed 1,000 times in your mind at 3 inches the morning. He does not fear your history, he fears your clarity, because a chosen one who finally sees clearly becomes something the kingdom of darkness cannot calculate, cannot contain, and cannot stop. So ask yourself honestly, why has your mind felt so crowded lately? Why has a strange heaviness settled over your spirit like a fog you cannot name? Why do you feel the urge to withdraw from the very things that once gave you life? That is not aging. That is not just exhaustion. That is a strategy. 1 Peter 5-8 does not whisper it. It declares it. Your adversary, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. He is not random. He is not careless. He is calculated. And right now, his calculation is aimed directly at your attention. Here is his playbook, and I want you to recognize every single move. Overthinking that loops without resolving. Doom scrolling that leaves you empty but somehow keeps pulling you back. emotional heaviness that has no clear source, a sudden cynicism that makes holy things feel hollow, mental fog that blurs what once felt certain, an urge to pull back, go quiet, disappear from the people and places connected to your purpose. And the most dangerous one of all, treating sacred moments like they are ordinary, one phone call that feels routine but carries a divine assignment inside it. One reconnection you almost ignored. One quiet instruction you dismissed as your own imagination. One moment of obedience you talked yourself out of because it seemed too small to matter. That is where most people miss God. Not in the dramatic, in the quiet. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, to take every thought captive, not some thoughts, every thought. Because the battlefield is not your circumstances, it is your mind. And the enemy knows if he can keep your mind cluttered, he never has to touch your destiny. You will delay it yourself. Now hear me, beloved, especially those of you who have been walking with God for decades. After enough disappointments, distraction can wear the mask of self-protection. You stop expecting because expecting has hurt you. You call it maturity. You call it being realistic. But deep in your spirit, if you are honest, you know the difference between wisdom and a wound that never fully healed. The enemy studied you. He knows which disappointments taught you to go quiet. He knows which unanswered prayers made you lower your spiritual antenna. He knows exactly which version of weariness will make you treat a divine moment like just another Tuesday. Ephesians 6:11 says to put on the full armor of God so you can stand against the schemes of the devil. Schemes, not random attacks. Schemes, carefully designed, personally tailored, strategically timed. And his scheme in this exact season is not to destroy you outright. It is subtler than that. It is to flood your frequency with static right before the signal breaks through clearly. Think about a radio catching a station through interference. The signal is real, the broadcast is already transmitting, but static crowds it out until all you hear is noise. That static is not silence from God. That is interference designed to make you believe God went silent. Think about fog on a windshield in early morning. The road is still there, the destination has not moved, but you cannot see clearly enough to drive with confidence. And think about this. When thieves plan a break-in, the first thing they do is cut the power, kill the lights, disable the alarm, because if you cannot see and cannot hear the warning, you will not know what is entering your house. That is what spiritual distraction does. It cuts your discernment right before the breakthrough arrives. Here is the truth that should shake something loose inside you. The enemy is not panicking because you are weak. He is panicking because you are close enough to clarity to become dangerous. You are one decision away, one act of obedience away, one moment of paying attention away from recognizing the movement of God that has been quietly surrounding your life while confusion kept your eyes looking in the wrong direction. That is why this message found you today. Not tomorrow, today. If you refuse to stay spiritually asleep in this hour, type right now, I will pay attention. Because here is what nobody is telling you yet. There is a difference between spiritual attack, grief, exhaustion, and God moving through pressure. Most people never learn how to tell them apart. And missing that distinction is exactly how a chosen one stands at the edge of their greatest season and walks away believing it was just another hard chapter. That is where we are going next. Chosen one, I need you to slow down right here, not because the message is getting softer, but because what I am about to share with you requires something most people never give God their full, undivided attention. You have been looking for thunder. You have been waiting for the dramatic, the burning bush, the parted sea, the unmistakable, undeniable, shake the walls moment that finally convinces you God has not forgotten your name. But what if he already answered, and you almost missed it because it didn't arrive in the form you expected? 1 Kings 19 tells us that God was not in the wind that tore the mountains apart. He was not in the earthquake. He was not in the fire. He came in a still, small voice, a gentle whisper, and Elijah, a prophet of God, almost missed it. If a prophet almost missed it, beloved, what about you and me? Here are the 7 quiet signs that God is already moving in your life right now. Sign 1. What used to satisfy you no longer does. The things that once brought you comfort, the distractions, the routines, the noise, they feel hollow now, empty, like biting into something that looks like food but has no flavor. That restlessness is not depression. That is God expanding your capacity. You cannot be filled with what He is preparing if you are still full of what you are leaving behind. Sign 2. You feel uneasy in places you once tolerated. Rooms that once felt normal now feel wrong. Conversations that once felt fine now feel draining. Situations you once accepted now make your spirit recoil. That is not you becoming difficult. That is discernment being activated. Proverbs 3-5 says, "Trust God with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding." Your spirit is outgrowing spaces your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Sign 3. You sense an inner pull you cannot explain. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is a quiet, persistent tug towards something, a scripture, a prayer, a direction, a decision. You keep feeling drawn. You cannot name it fully, but it will not leave you alone. John 16:13 says, "The Spirit of truth will guide you into all truth." That pull is not anxiety, that is navigation. Sign 4. Conversations suddenly hit deeper than before. Someone says something ordinary and it lands like a revelation. A word from a stranger, a sentence from a sermon, a line from an old hymn you have heard 100 times, and suddenly it cuts straight through. That is not coincidence. That is God using ordinary voices to carry extraordinary instruction. Sign 5. You keep circling back to the same instruction. The same verse keeps finding you. The same conviction keeps returning. You pray it away and it comes back. You distract yourself and it is still there in the morning. Beloved, when God repeats Himself, it is not because He is frustrated. It is because the instruction carries a weight your destiny cannot move forward without. Sign 6. Peace appears in strange places even before answers do. You have no resolution yet. The situation has not changed. The money has not arrived. The diagnosis has not cleared. The relationship has not healed. And yet there is a strange, unexplainable quiet in your chest. That peace that passes all understanding. That is not denial. That is God telling your spirit what He has not yet told your circumstances. Sign 7. You feel both fragile and awake at the same time. Not broken, fragile. Like something in you is tender and open and more alive than it has been in years. Like the thin skin of dawn just before the sun breaks the horizon. That feeling, that sacred, trembling aliveness, is not weakness. It is the sensation of being repositioned by God. Now here is what I need you to understand about all 7 of these signs. Anxiety scatters you. It pulls your mind in 17 directions at once and leaves you exhausted and empty. But the movement of God's Spirit does something completely different. It clarifies, it sobers, it aligns you. It makes you alert in a way that feels both uncomfortable and clean at the same time. You have been asking God for thunder, but God may already be answering you in pressure, in peace, in discomfort, and in repetition. Like a train felt in the rails before it is ever seen. Like a tide shifting direction before the shoreline notices the change. Like the sky holding its breath in the grey silence just before dawn breaks. The answer is already moving toward you. The question is whether you are paying attention to the right frequency. Habakkuk 2-3 says it will speak and it will not be late. It is not late, chosen one. If these signs are alive in your life right now, type in the comments, "Lord, teach me your whisper." Because now that you know the signs, a deeper question rises. If God is already moving, why are so many chosen people still missing the shift entirely? That answer will change the way you see everything that comes next. Chosen one, I need to tell you something that might be uncomfortable. Most people don't miss their divine moment because they were wicked. They miss it because they were wounded, and nobody warned them that a wounded heart, left unattended long enough, starts making decisions that look like wisdom but feel like walls. So let me be the one to say it clearly today. There are 3 traps, and every single one of them is subtle enough to feel spiritual while it's costing you everything. Trap number 1. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar blessing. Read that again slowly. You have lived inside certain struggles for so long that your nervous system has accepted them as home. The financial strain, the loneliness, the unanswered prayers sitting on the shelf like unopened mail. You don't like the pain, but you know it. And somewhere deep inside, known pain feels safer than unknown change. So when God begins to shift things, when the door starts to crack open, something in you hesitates. Not because you don't want freedom, but because freedom looks different than you imagined. And different, after decades of disappointment, can feel dangerous. This is exactly what happened to Lot's wife. God opened the door, God gave the instruction, God said, "Move and don't look back." She walked out, but she looked back. Not because she loved the destruction, because the familiar still had a grip on her that the blessing couldn't yet break. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says it plainly. Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. You cannot harvest a future you're too afraid to plant in. The question is not whether God is moving. The question is whether pain has convinced you that staying still is the same as being safe. Trap number 2. You are waiting for a dramatic sign while God is whispering a small instruction. This one is personal. This one stings. Most chosen people picture their breakthrough arriving like thunder, a vision, a burning bush, something undeniable, something so obvious that even doubt has to bow its head and sit down. But that is not how God moved for most of the people he used most powerfully. He told Elijah to stand on the mountain, and the wind came powerful enough to tear rocks apart. Then an earthquake, then fire, and God was not in any of it. After all that thunder, after all that drama, and right now, God is giving you a small instruction. Maybe it's forgiving someone before you feel ready. Maybe it's stepping towards something you've been rationalizing away for months. Maybe it's simply opening your Bible instead of your anxiety. James 1:22 says, "Be doers of the word, and not hearers only." The trap is not ignorance. The trap is hearing and pausing, standing at the station while the train arrives, watching it, acknowledging it, even nodding at it, and then watching it leave without you. Small obedience is the door to supernatural outcomes, and the enemy knows it. That is why he keeps you waiting for something bigger. Trap number 3. And this one is the most dangerous because it disguises itself as spiritual maturity. You are confusing exhaustion with discernment. When life has hit you enough times, caution begins to call itself wisdom. You say, "I'm just being careful." You say, "I've been hurt before." You say, "I'm waiting on the Lord." But chosen one, be honest with yourself right now. Is that really discernment? Or is it a heart that got knocked down so many times it decided the floor was safer than standing? Israel did the same thing. God showed up in their generation. Luke 19:44 records the grief of Jesus himself over Jerusalem, weeping because they did not recognize the time of their visitation. Not because God didn't come, because pain, tradition, and exhaustion had trained their eyes to look everywhere except toward the movement of heaven. And the heartbreaking part? They survived. They kept going. They kept their routines. They just missed the moment that everything had been building toward. You are not them, but you could make the same choice. Not every hesitation is holy. Not every pause is prayer. Some of what you call waiting is actually a healing room you have mistaken for a waiting room. God already opened the door. You're just still sitting in the lobby. Here is the truth that should stop you cold. The greatest tragedy is not pain. It is surviving pain so long that you no longer recognize permission when it comes. God is giving you permission right now to move, to believe again, to stop letting old wounds write the script for new seasons. If this message is exposing something in you, don't resist it. Type right now, "I will not miss my moment." Stay with me, because the next section is going to reveal something that will completely change how you see your losses. What looked like subtraction in your life may have been divine precision. What felt like God taking away may have been heaven narrowing your path straight toward the one door that was always meant for you. Don't go anywhere. Chosen one, I need you to sit with this next part, because this is the section that is going to reach into the part of your chest you stopped talking about. You noticed it, didn't you? Slowly at first, then all at once, people you loved started drifting. Invitations stopped coming. Rooms you used to walk into with confidence started feeling foreign. Roles you carried for decades suddenly stopped fitting like they used to. Routines that once gave you comfort went flat. Dreams you held for 30, 40, 50 years quietly stopped breathing. And somewhere in the middle of all that silence, you asked the question you were almost too afraid to finish. Did God forget me? I am here to tell you the answer. And it is going to change the way you see every single loss you have carried. God was not emptying your life because he forgot you. He was clearing interference. John 15:2 says it with surgical precision. Every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. Not the dead branches, the living ones, the ones already producing. He cuts those, because he is not managing your survival. He is engineering your expansion. Here is what nobody tells you about pruning. It does not feel like preparation. It feels like punishment. It feels like rejection. It feels like the slow, quiet erasure of everything that once made you feel like somebody. But beloved, not every loss is warfare. Some losses are architecture. Think about that for a moment. A surgeon does not remove what is healthy. He removes what threatens life. What looks like destruction on the operating table is actually the most precise act of love a person can perform. And God, the great physician, has been in the operating room of your life, not with careless hands, with eternal intention. Isaiah 48:10 declares it plainly. I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. The furnace of affliction, not the field of comfort, not the garden of ease, the furnace. Because what God is building in you cannot be shaped in comfortable temperatures. It requires heat. It requires pressure. It requires the removal of everything that would melt under the weight of what is coming. And here is the truth that breaks people open. Even holy pruning still bleeds. You are allowed to grieve what God removed. You are allowed to mourn the friendships that dissolved, the opportunities that evaporated, the version of yourself that no longer exists. Grief and faith are not enemies. They have walked side by side through every page of Scripture. But here is where you must not stop, chosen one. Because the grief is not the destination, it is the doorway. Hebrews 12:11 whispers it like a father speaking to a son who is barely holding on. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Yet afterward it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace. Afterward, God is an afterward God. He does not waste a single wound. He does not allow a single subtraction without a greater addition waiting on the other side of your obedience. The next season of your life requires space. Real space. Not the kind you create by reorganizing your schedule. The kind that only comes when God Himself clears the field before sowing something generational into the ground of your life. The next calling requires cleaner air, fewer voices, fewer opinions pulling at your spirit like hands grabbing at a coat. God has been quietly reducing the noise because what He is about to speak over your life is too precise, too sacred, too directional to compete with the static of people and places that were never meant to accompany you into this chapter. Think of a house being emptied before renovation. The workers do not remove the furniture because the house has no value. They remove it because something greater is being built inside. Every piece of furniture that left your life, every person, every role, every old identity, God was not discarding you. He was making room for the new structure He intends to raise. What felt like abandonment may have been preparation for weight your old life could not carry. Read that again, slowly. Let it land in the places still tender from the losses you have not fully named. Your old life, the one with all those people and all those roles and all that noise, it was not strong enough to hold what God has prepared for you now. So He built you a new foundation, quietly, while you were grieving what He was removing. That is not cruelty. That is the most extravagant love you have ever been shown. If God has been pruning your life, say it right now. Say it out loud or type it where someone can witness it with you. Make room in me, Lord. Because here is the part that is going to stay with you long after this message ends. If God has truly been preparing you, clearing the field, sharpening the instrument, emptying the house, building the new foundation, what exactly is He preparing you for? That answer is coming. And when it lands, you will finally understand why everything you lost was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of the one that was always meant to be told. Chosen one, I need to tell you something that might be the most important thing you hear all year. The answer you have been waiting for. It may already be here, but you almost walked right past it, not because God is hiding, not because you are unworthy, but because you have been looking for a trumpet and God sent a whisper. Here is what nobody warns you about. After years of praying, after decades of believing, after a lifetime of holding on, the human heart builds a picture, a very specific picture, of exactly how the breakthrough should look, exactly how the miracle should feel, exactly what the answer should sound like when it finally arrives. And when it doesn't match that picture, you call it silence. But beloved, God never agreed to your picture. Zechariah 4:10 asks a question that should shake every one of us awake. Who dares despise the day of small things? Small things, not small God, small beginnings, quiet arrivals, humble first steps that carry the full weight of heaven behind them. You have been waiting for the flood. But rain always begins with one drop. You have been waiting for the full sunrise. But morning always begins with just a thin line of light on the horizon. You have been waiting for the door to swing wide open with a sound like thunder. But some of the most important doors in your life, they open quietly, just a soft click. And if you are not paying attention, you miss it. That is the danger this message is trying to save you from. Now let me go deeper, because this is where it gets personal. Some of you are waiting for money. But first, God is sending you courage. Some of you are waiting for a person. But first, He is restoring your discernment, so you will actually recognize the right one when they appear. Some of you are waiting for a dramatic miracle. But first, He is giving you the quiet strength to finally say yes to what He asked you 3 years ago. The blessing is not late. The blessing is layered. And you have been so focused on the final chapter that you missed the sentence He is writing right now. Look at Naaman in 2 Kings 5. A great man, a powerful man, a man who traveled a long distance seeking a miracle. And when the answer arrived, he almost rejected it, because it looked too simple, too ordinary, too small for the size of his problem. He wanted spectacle, he wanted drama. He wanted the prophet to come out, raise his hands, call down fire. Instead, he was told to wash in a river 7 times. He almost walked away from his own healing because the answer didn't match his expectation. How many of you right now are standing at your own river, arms crossed, refusing to step in because it doesn't look like what you prayed for? Mark 4:26 through 29 describes the kingdom of God like a seed growing in the ground. The farmer doesn't understand how it happens. He sleeps, he rises, day after day, and the seed grows on its own, first the blade, then the head, then the full grain. God's process does not require your full understanding. It only requires your continued presence. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not standing in an empty field. You may be standing inside the very first inches of the answer already. That is not poetry. That is prophecy. Think about what has shifted quietly around you recently. A burden that felt slightly lighter this week. A thought that came out of nowhere, pointing you in a new direction. A conversation that seemed accidental but stayed with you for days. A strange new peace that has no logical explanation given everything you are still facing. That is not coincidence. That is cultivation. God does not waste a single seed. Not one prayer. Not one tear. Not one night you spent awake holding on when everything in you wanted to let go. But here is the hard truth, and I say this with deep love. Older believers are often the ones most likely to miss the new thing. Not because of lack of faith, but because of the weight of memory. Because you remember how God moved before. And you are waiting for him to move the same way again. But Isaiah 43:19 does not say, I am repeating the old thing. It says, I am doing a new thing. New, different, unexpected, arriving in a form your history has not prepared you to recognize. The key he is handing you right now may look too small for the door you are expecting, but it is the exact key for the exact door he actually prepared. Stop waiting for the key to look impressive. Start paying attention to what fits. If you are ready to stop demanding spectacle and start honoring small obedience, type right now, I receive it in any form. Because we are now coming to the emotional center of this entire message, the place where everything converges. The reason this title says you could regret every breath you take if you look away. And what you are about to hear, you were not meant to face another day without knowing it. Chosen one, I need to stop right here and speak plainly. Because some of you heard the title of this message and felt something tighten in your chest. And I need to address that directly before we go one step further. God is not standing over you with a ledger. He is not counting your mistakes like a courtroom prosecutor building a case against your life. That is not who he is. That is not what this is. So let me tell you exactly what regret every breath means. There are seasons in a human life so sacred, so precisely appointed, so loaded with divine intention, that when a person sleeps through them, something breaks on the inside that is very difficult to repair. Not because God punishes them, but because they knew. Deep down, they knew something was moving, and they chose not to move with it. Ephesians 5:15 through 17 says it with the weight of a judge reading a final verdict. See then that you walk carefully, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Redeeming the time, not wasting it, not surviving it, redeeming it. Now let me ask you something that may be the most important question you hear all year. When was the last time you stepped forward, not shuffled, not considered, not almost, but actually stepped forward into something God was clearly calling you toward? Because here is what regret truly looks like for a person who has walked with God for decades. It is not always the sins. It is not always the failures. Sometimes, and this is the part that will stay with you, sometimes regret is the quiet grief of realizing you were right there. You were standing at the edge of something real, and you talked yourself out of it. You called your hesitation humility. You called your retreat wisdom. You called your silence patience. But it was fear. And you knew it was fear. And you let it win anyway. Some of you are not grieving the past right now. You are grieving the version of yourself that kept surviving, but never once stepped forward. Hebrews 3:15 does not whisper. It declares, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart." Today. Not when you feel ready, not when the circumstances improve, not when the fear finally disappears. Today. And here is where I need to turn this slowly, carefully, because this next truth is the sharpest edge of everything I am saying. Imagine a room. You have been breathing in that room for years. You know every corner, every crack in the wall, every shadow on the ceiling, and there is a door on the far side of that room. You have known about that door. You have walked past it 100 times. You even carried the key in your pocket every single day, but you never tried the lock. And one morning you wake up and the room feels different, smaller, and you realize, not with anger, but with this deep, hollow ache, that the door was never locked. It was never locked. That is the regret God is warning you about. Not failure, not sin, not the storms you walked through, the heartbreak of finally realizing you were invited. You were invited into something larger than survival. You were invited into movement, into purpose, into the full weight of everything He placed inside you before you were born. And the invitation was real. The door was open. The key was in your hand. Moses stood at the edge of the Red Sea with 2 million people behind him and water in front of him. He did not feel ready. He did not feel qualified, but he lifted his staff and eternity moved. Psalm 90:12 is Moses himself praying, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Number your days, chosen one. Not with dread, with awareness, with the holy understanding that every single sunrise you are given is not a routine, it is an invitation wearing ordinary clothes. You have lived long enough to know that time does not negotiate. It does not slow down because you are not ready. It does not pause because the weight feels too heavy. It moves. And the question God is placing before you right now in this moment, in this breath, is whether you will move with it. This message was sent to you specifically so that regret does not get to write your final chapter. Not shame, not condemnation, mercy. Pure, relentless, heaven-sent mercy, knocking on the door of your awareness before another season passes you by, like a sunrise you watched with your eyes closed. If you refuse to let fear write the rest of your story, type it right now. I will not look away. Say it like you mean it. Because heaven is listening, and so is every part of you that still believes something greater is possible. Do not leave now, because the next section is where everything shifts. We are done with the warning. We are crossing from warning into activation. And what comes next will show you practically, spiritually, immediately, exactly what to do if you believe this message found you on purpose. You have heard the warning. You have felt the stirring. Something in your chest shifted during this message and you know it. But here is where most people lose everything they just received. They feel it, they nod, they close the screen. And by morning, the moment is buried under breakfast, under noise, under the weight of an ordinary Tuesday. And the stirring fades, and the window closes. Not today. Not you. Not this time. Because this is not the end of the message. This is the moment the message becomes your life. The first thing you must do is get quiet. Not church quiet. Not I'll pray before bed quiet. I mean intentional, deliberate silence. Turn off the television. Put down the phone. Sit in a room where the only sound is your own breathing. Psalm 46:10 does not say, try to be still. It says, be still and know that I am God. That word know in Hebrew means to perceive, to recognize, to finally see what was already there. You cannot tune a radio while the room is screaming. And right now, heaven has been broadcasting on a frequency your noise has been drowning out for months, maybe years. Get quiet. Create room. Because God does not compete for your attention, He waits for your surrender. The second thing you must do is write down what keeps returning. You know what I am talking about. That thought that came back 3 times this week. That name you keep hearing in your spirit. That decision you keep postponing. That place you keep seeing in your mind. That burden you cannot shake no matter how many times you hand it over. Recurring is not random. Recurring is divine persistence. James 4:8 says, "Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you." But drawing near requires honesty, so write it down. Whatever keeps returning, name it. Because the moment you name it on paper, you can no longer pretend you don't know what God is pressing on. The third thing, and this one will cost you something, is to repent for the numbing, not shame, not guilt, alignment. Because somewhere along the road, chosen one, you stopped expecting. You told yourself it was maturity. You called it being realistic. But the truth is, disappointment taught you to go numb before the pain could reach you again. And that numbness did not protect you. It just made you unavailable to God. Right now, in your own words, say this: Lord, I repent for the delay. I repent for the doubt I dressed up as wisdom. I am still here. I am still yours. Open me again. That prayer is not weakness. That prayer is the key already in your hand, finally turning in the lock. The fourth thing is the one most people skip because it feels too small. Obey the smallest clear thing, not the big vision, not the 5-year plan. The smallest thing God has clearly told you to do that you have not done yet. Make the call, write the apology, release the bitterness, set the boundary, submit the application, begin the preparation. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever is faithful in the least is faithful in much." Heaven does not graduate you to the next level while you are still ignoring the assignment on your current floor. You are not waiting on a miracle. You are waiting on your own obedience. And the miracle is waiting on the other side of it. One match, one strike. That is all it takes to end the darkness in a room. Strike it. The fifth thing is to guard your next step from cynical voices. This is not the time to announce your transition to everyone at the table. Not every person in your life has the spiritual clearance to narrate your next chapter. Some people love you and will still speak doubt over what God is building. Some people are not bad, they are just not built for where you are going. Movement begins with one act of obedience, not a committee, not a consensus. One step, taken in faith, taken in silence, taken before the applause comes. And now here is the truth that should shake everything loose inside you. Your next chapter is not waiting on a miracle from heaven. It is waiting on your agreement with what heaven has already said. God already moved. God already spoke. God already opened the door. The only question left, the only question that has ever mattered, is whether you will walk through it. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are too chosen to stay still one more day. Before this video ends, do one thing. Write down the one thing you know God has been pressing on your heart. Not someday, right now, on paper, in your phone, on the back of whatever is in front of you. Name it. Own it. Respond to it. And if this word is yours, if something in you shifted today that you cannot explain, comment right now. Today I respond, because the final declaration is coming, and it will seal everything you just received and send you out of this moment completely changed. Chosen one. Before you close this out, I need one more minute of your attention, because everything you just heard was building to this. Your pain was not pointless. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every season where the silence felt louder than God's voice, none of it was random. None of it was punishment. None of it was proof that you were forgotten. It was preparation. Your delay was not denial. Your losses were not accidents. Your confusion was not weakness. It was contested. Because the enemy understood something you didn't. Clarity was closer than it had ever been. And a distracted mind cannot receive what a focused spirit is ready to hold. That is why the fog came so thick. That is why the weariness hit so deep. That is why disappointment arrived in waves designed to make you stop looking up. but Joel 2:25 declares it with the authority of heaven itself. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Not some of the years, not the easy ones, all of them. And Philippians 1-6 confirms what God started. He will finish, not might finish, will finish. So hear me clearly, chosen one. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not disqualified by how long it took to get here. And you are not crazy for feeling something shift beneath your feet right now. That shift is real. Think of a watchman standing on the wall through the longest, darkest night of the year. Hours of nothing, hours of cold silence, hours of wondering if morning is even coming. And then, without announcement, without fanfare, a thin line of gold appears on the horizon. That is where you are standing right now. Isaiah 60:1 says it like thunder. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Not will come, has come. The fog is burning off. The room is filling with light through every crack. The door that stayed locked through every season of your suffering, it is near. And this time, chosen one, you will see it. But I must warn you one final time. Do not look away now. Not now. Not after everything you survived to get to this moment. Do not retreat back into emotional sleep. Do not return to the numbness that kept you safe, but kept you small. Do not let distractions steal what God positioned you to finally receive. The greatest danger you face right now is not the enemy outside. It is the hesitation inside. It is the old reflex that says, protect yourself, lower your expectations, don't get too hopeful. That reflex kept you alive through the hard seasons. But it will cost you the harvest if you don't lay it down today. And now I want to ask you something that may be the most important question you've heard in years. What if this was never the season where you lost everything? What if this was the season where God made absolutely sure you finally noticed what survived, what remained, what quietly opened, and who you had become through all of it? What if the losses didn't take from you? What if they revealed you? Let that land. Because chosen one, what is still standing in your life after everything that tried to bring you down, that is not coincidence. That is covenant. That is God's fingerprints on what the enemy could not touch. Now let's close this moment the right way. Father, in the name of Jesus, I speak over every chosen one hearing this voice right now. Clear their hearing, restore their courage, break the passivity that has settled like dust over their spirit. Sever every root of fear that convinced them their best days were behind them. Release holy attention over their mind. Grant them peace that is not dependent on circumstances and discernment that cuts through every deception. Strengthen them for obedience. And let this be the night, this be the hour, this be the very breath where everything shifts. The fog is lifting. The room is brightening. The door is near. And this time, you will see it. Go ahead right now and type in the comments, I will not look away. Not for the algorithm. As a declaration over your own life. As a covenant between you and the God who brought you to this exact moment. Pray before you sleep tonight. Not a long prayer, just an honest one. Tell him you're ready to pay attention. And if this message awakened something in you that had gone quiet, share it. Right now, send it to someone you love who has been living through fog. Because sometimes God uses one person's yes to light the way for another. Subscribe if you want messages that awaken, not just entertain. Because chosen one, you did not come this far to finally look away. Not now, not ever again.